There was a version of life we were told was normal. Go to college, get a stable job, rent a decent place, buy a reliable car, take a vacation once a year, save for retirement. Nothing extravagant, just normal. And yet today, that version of normal feels financially suffocating. You're not living lavishly, you're not reckless, you're not irresponsible, but you still feel tight, stretched, on edge before every payday. So what happened? How did normal living become this heavy? Today on Millennial Money, we're breaking down the structural shift that turned ordinary adulthood into financial pressure and what you can realistically do about it.
My name is Zach, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time thinking about why financially responsible people still feel financially stuck. People who did what they were told, got the degree, built the career, tried to be careful with money, and yet somehow still feel tense before payday, still feel behind, still feel like stability is always just out of reach. If that sounds familiar, this channel is for you. And if this kind of breakdown helps you think more clearly about money, consider subscribing. Because today, we're not talking about budgeting hacks or hustle culture. We're talking about how normal adult life quietly became financially suffocating for millennials, why it feels so heavy even when you're doing things right, and how to rebuild margin and control without extremes, shame, or panic. This is Millennial Money. Let's break it down. Millennials grew up during a very specific message cycle. Education equals stability. Hard work equals upward mobility. Middle class equals security. The formula seemed clear. Degree, job, house, family, retirement. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The cost of that formula changed, the income progression didn't keep up, and no one updated the expectations. The cost of normal exploded. Let's break down what normal means financially in 2026 America. A modest apartment in a mid-tier city, $1,800 to $2,500 per month. Childcare in many areas, $1,000 to $2,000 per month per child. Health insurance premiums and deductibles, rising steadily for years. College education? Still expensive. Student debt? Still lingering for many. Now add car payments averaging hundreds per month. Insurance, utilities, groceries that have risen significantly in the past few years. Nothing luxurious, nothing flashy, just existing. And suddenly 70 to 85% of your take-home pay is locked into fixed costs before you even live your life. That's suffocation, not overspending, structural compression.
Previous generations could maintain normal while keeping flexibility. Millennials often cannot, because fixed costs expanded faster than wage growth. And fixed costs are dangerous because they don't adjust easily. They don't pause when income drops. They don't shrink when inflation rises. When 80% of your income is fixed, you're not budgeting, you're surviving. And that's why even people making 80K, 90K, even 100K say, I should feel more stable than this. They're not crazy. They're overcommitted relative to margin. A lot of advice says millennials just upgraded too much. But let's be honest, most upgrades weren't vanity. They were life progression. Better job, closer apartment. New baby, bigger place. Commute too long, better car. Work stress, more convenient spending. These weren't luxury moves. They were adaptive moves. But here's what happened. Each adaptation became permanent. And permanent upgrades quietly erase flexibility, not because you're reckless, because life kept evolving. There's a psychological layer here. Many millennials feel, I did everything right. Got the degree, built the career, tried to be responsible, and yet financial stability feels fragile. That gap between expectation and reality creates frustration, shame, comparison, anxiety. You look around and think, why does everyone else look fine? But most people are privately stretched. The suffocation isn't loud, it's silent. It shows up as checking your bank app too often, feeling tense before big bills, hesitating to plan vacations, stressing about retirement constantly. That's not failure, that's compressed margin.
So, what can you actually do? Let's keep this realistic. You probably can't slash rent in half overnight, remove childcare, eliminate healthcare costs. So the solution isn't extreme downsizing, it's strategic margin recovery. 1. Audit the top 3 fixed costs. Not everything, just the biggest three: housing, transportation, insurance. Ask, can this be refinanced, renegotiated, adjusted, optimized? Even a $200 to $400 reduction per month restores breathing room, and breathing room changes everything. 2. Freeze lifestyle inflation for 12 months. No new financed purchases, no major upgrades, no new recurring obligations. Income can grow, expenses stay flat. This rebuilds margin without feeling like regression. 3. The one obligation in, one out rule. Before adding a subscription, a car upgrade, a new monthly commitment, one must leave. This keeps your structure from expanding silently. 4. Build margin before you chase wealth. You don't need a perfect portfolio first. You need 3 to 6 months of stability, emergency flexibility, reduced anxiety. Because wealth building requires calm decision-making, and suffocation blocks clarity. Normal living didn't become expensive because you failed. It became expensive because housing outpaced wages, healthcare costs climbed, education costs ballooned, lifestyle standards shifted upward, and the definition of middle class quietly moved. The solution isn't shame, it's structure. If you feel financially suffocated, the first step isn't earning more. It's creating margin inside your existing structure. Because when you create margin, you reduce anxiety, you improve decisions, you regain control. And control is the first stage of stability.
If this video made you pause for a moment, that's intentional. Most people don't struggle financially because they are careless or irresponsible. They struggle because the definition of normal quietly became more expensive, and no one explained how that changes the rules. This channel exists to help you see those shifts clearly and adjust without panic, shame, or extremes. If you want calm, structured, long-term financial stability, subscribe. We don't chase shortcuts here. We build margin. We build control. I'll see you in the next one.